my fellow Americans. This is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 21 of the Mad Titan Podcast. Here with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. Thank you to everybody that's checked out episode 20. A lot of love, a lot of feedback for the episode with Winston Marshall and the interview with Ashley Harrison of the NAACP Image Award, nominated for Outstanding Children's Program, Marvel Avengers, Black Panther's Quest, man. Thank you to Ashley again for that. And once again, I'm here and I'm back with another great co-host, man. This dude, I've been having the chance to rock comedy stages with. Met him out here in Los Angeles. He is a hilarious dude. I can definitely say that. Cool, down to earth. First of all, found out he was a nerd the other day, and that shit changed my life. As soon as I found that, we had this discussion. It went deep. I was like, word. And it was like, oh, you coming to do this podcast. But he is a regular at the Hollywood Improv. He is one of the house pianists at the Comedy Store. Was in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and you see him around town and does a whole lot more colleges and clubs. Y'all know I get tongue-tied on here, whatever, around the country. But I'm honored to have him here, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeffrey Baldinger. What's up, bro?
How you doing, Jay? Good to be here. Thank you for having me. This is
man.
awesome. Yeah,
like I said, you turned out to be a nerd.
So funny.
You turned out to be a nerd. So
just
you
started talking, and we started talking Star Trek, Marvel, DC, and you were just like, wait a minute.
I was like, word?
What?
I had my neck peer up like the giraffes at the beginning of the fucking Lion King. Because it's like I'm always gravitated to people who have nerd conversations because now it's more open for people to have them.
For sure.
And some people just try to be nerds to fit in. But when you actually can talk shit and you know it, I'm like...
It's so weird, as people who grew up nerdish, having the nerd conversations just to fit in is such a weird turn of events.
It is just like, you watch people like, I wouldn't normally talk to you.
And I'm still nervous, like, I still get, like, weary about talking true comicdom with people because I'm just not sure how deep they want to go.
Because some
you know
can't.
What I mean? And it's just like, we'll just talk movies.
I've
okay,
learned,
that's fine.
I've learned this since
like
I've been doing the podcast, this one and the Trusty Sidekick, since I've been doing a lot of stuff with Collider Nerdist and everything. When you talk to people about nerd shit, when you start talking to them about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, some of them only go as far as the movies and TV shows.
Right.
When
and
you start going,
that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it, but when you start going into story arcs and who wrote it, and they be like, huh?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly. And that's again, everybody likes what they like, and your level of fandom, you're not less of a fan just because you like what is presented to you. But it's like it's one of those things where it's to fit in. It's like this is what helped me get through the day as a kid. The stories of it's like that's the Hulk was my dude growing up. Just like that was my guy. Just like the story of just like a misunderstood monster. It's just like
like he just got little problems. We did not judge him on this shit. I think people never got that because that's how a lot of people got into them. Yeah. For me, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I wasn't able to leave my house a lot because it was so violent.
Yeah.
In the 80s growing up, there was a lot of gunshots, a lot of gang violence. And so I wasn't always super into video games. My younger brother was.
Yeah.
But I needed something to escape into as well. I like to draw. And I'll never forget one of my buddies introduced me to a couple comic books. And one of the first ones was this black character you need to read. And it was Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I was like, he introduced me in the Fantastic Four issue and then so on and so forth. And I got ingrained in that. And I started wanting to know about more and more. And I was like, yo, this world is so captivating. And so it's interesting to see how people now have their own introduction into it.
Yeah.
And you can't be mad at it.
You can't be mad at it. And that's something, the best part about the movies and the TV shows is it gets people interested, and if they are truly interested, then there's this huge backlog that they can delve into and really get involved, and it's like that's great. That's such a good thing.
I think that's been the dope thing, seeing people now who want to visit the comic book stores, who want to catch up on whatever they can,
and seeing the stories like this is where this came from. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Or does this mean this is where it's going to go?
Right.
Hopefully.
Crossing fingers.
You're like,
because there's another way it could go that I don't want it to go.
I don't want it to
go. A writer picked that up and didn't like that storyline, but hopefully they don't use that one. But chances are, knowing my luck, they will.
You're like, please God, don't do this to us.
Let's be enough with the Ultimates. But whatever.
No, because it's funny because I laugh so fucking hard because so many people don't get that what we get in the MCU is the Ultimate Run.
No.
And like a lot of what goes. I mean, the Endgame, the Infinity War was sort of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Here's the thing. They've been doing again, MCU has done the best job of any thing. Like there's no arguing with the success of it, and it's like it satisfies both mainstream audiences and nerd culture for the most part. It's obviously there's the nitpicky stuff that we all have in every. I had to a long time ago decide to give a review based on my just like movie review and then comic book review of the movie. Just like so I have like as a movie it's good. As a comic book adaptation, I have some problems with it.
Ask me how I feel about Venom again. Go ahead, Jay.
Dude, that movie made me laugh so hard. I know it wasn't necessarily supposed to be a comedy, but
because of how bad it was.
Dude, when Venom said, spoiler alert, when Venom said,
"I'm a loser like you,"
I'm a loser too.
Okay, so here's the funny part.
I was dying. I was like, who said okay
to this line?
Who said okay to that line of dialogue? Same person who probably said, yeah, let's have Darth Vader say, don't choke on your own ambitions. Like, fucking, what? What? That got okayed? What are you doing?
So here's the funny part. A bunch of my listeners they know how I feel about Venom. They know I'm like, this shit should never happen. This shit somebody needs to be stoned. And the fact that there is a sequel lets me know that I hate humans. But
at least we got Woody Harrelson as Cletus, that's...
got him as fucking Carrot Top on meth. Anyway.
They should have gotten Carrot Top for Cletus. That would have been a great
He's
cast.
swole enough.
Yeah.
Listen, for those who are new to the podcast, what we do here is I get you educated and caught up on everything in the Marvel and DC live-action cinematic universes. If it's got a cape, cowl, and mask, goddammit, I'm talking about it. So before we get going with everything else, well, we are getting started. What the hell am I talking about? Let's kick it off with Marvel news, and in the best news, I think I can kick off this show talking about Black Panther. Won 3 Oscars at the Academy Awards ceremony, and it makes history with 2 of those wins. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, Ruth E. Carter won for Best Costume Design, which makes her the first ever African-American woman to win that award. Then Hannah Beachler won for production design. Now, here's the dope thing. She's the first ever African-American woman to be nominated and then to win first go-round. That is amazing. Ludwig Göransson also won for Best Original Score. I have had the score on my workout playlist since the film came out. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I loved the movie. I thought that was just like a new. So when Black Panther came out, it was Black Panther and I think Thor Ragnarok around the same.
Like, well, no, Thor was in November. Black Panther February.
Yeah. So Black Panther came out, and that was like a new era of Marvel movies. It just was like it threw the gauntlet down again. First they threw it down with Iron Man, then they threw it down with the Avengers. Then it was all right. Now we're here. Now we're like fucking.
Oh yeah.
Here's how we got a good villain again. Like we got a fucking powerful film, and it was just like I fucking loved it so much. Like just watching it and just the way they portrayed Wakanda was amazing. The way they portrayed the right of succession, the way they portrayed Manape without it being racist.
Yeah, because that was the big nerve. Because again, if you don't know in the comics, M'Baku is really called Mayonnaise, and everybody was like, "Uh-oh, this shit not gonna work."
Yeah, I mean, it was just I so liked the movie, and obviously there's certain issues like spoiler alert, I wish Claw hadn't died. I wish
I do wish
Killmonger hadn't died because he was but also at the same time is the only way to stay true to his character for him to die,
right?
Without undercutting what he stood for,
exactly.
And so that the way they portrayed Claw's arm was a nice adaptation. I'm not.
You weren't super stoked on it?
I'm not super, because he becomes living sound.
Like that's what he is.
That's just the comic
nerd. Yeah,
comic nerd. I was like, he could still be alive. He could just absorb himself into the sound. Maybe they could bring him back like that. That sort of stuff. But overall, I liked how they adjusted the sound gun for his arm. And just the interplay with everybody, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
One of the biggest things for me, beside my loving the movie overall, but the biggest thing for me is it's a standalone film.
Exactly.
It doesn't need the previous MCU or what was going forward. Just the fact that we had Bucky in a post-credit scene. Not involved in the film itself.
And I gotta be honest, I loved the White Wolf.
If you were a comic book fan and you heard that, you were like,
it's like, ooh, okay. I see what you're doing. Okay.
Now, unfortunately, it did not win Best Picture as many were hoping. If you were watching the live stream of Collider video, our Oscar watch, you saw my face as soon as they announced Green Book go, fuck! Like, I let out the loudest fuck ever.
You and Spike Lee.
Man, me and Spike. Shout out to my homie Spike Lee, finally won, and Kevin Wilmot.
That's my film professor from KU.
See, I know Kevin, because Kevin and Spike co-wrote Chirac.
Yep.
So that's how I got cool with them. So
and I took a film class with Kevin Wilmot back in college.
Yeah, Kevin's a good dude, man. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
But again, and also, this is another big thing what Black Panther makes history on. It also becomes the first MCU film to ever win an Oscar.
Yeah.
Now, many thought that visually it could have went to Guardians,
Absolutely.
Or it could have went to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But now the first win goes to Black Panther.
And that's a huge win.
It's a huge win. Just to have the Oscar in the studio.
Yep.
So now what that does, I think, and this isn't putting a weight or comparison to any other studios that are trying to develop universes, but I think it makes the other studios look deeper into what they're doing.
It shows that you can make great films.
Yes.
And have comic book be a part of that. And I think The Dark Knight showed us that in the first place, with getting nominated and Heath winning the posthumous Oscar and stuff like that, which was great. But that having the win for a movie in all these different categories and nominated for Best Picture, and even just nominated for Best Picture, is a huge boon for just comic books are not just
a genre thing. Yep.
That it's like they're great storytelling techniques, they're great storytelling mediums, and just it doesn't matter that it's comic books, it's about the story.
Also, if you did not read my article as to why Black Panther was worthy of its Oscar nomination, please make sure it's here on the Mad Titan cast website. It is also available on Cinelinks.com. I broke down damn near every reason why it deserved its Best Picture nomination. Not even saying the win, why it deserved its nomination. And also, I know I normally don't talk about this genre, but I have to bring it up. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and I think that was a no-brainer. The most hilarious part about that to me was like a week and a half before the Oscars, Disney went on Twitter trying to promote Incredibles 2, and everybody just hit them with the Spider-Man gift all the way down. It's the greatest shit ever, but congratulations to the team.
Well, that's the other thing, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, that was a huge win for Sony, and for another huge...
Sony Animation. Let's say Sony
Animation.
Let's say Sony Animation.
Sony Animation.
Because you don't want to put that on... Look, I'm just going to say this. You don't want to put that on regular Sony. Now, I get it that they're doing the Spider-Man films. But outside of that...
True. However, post credits of Venom was in the other universe. In another universe, it was the Spider-Verse tag. After the Cletus thing.
What was the other post? I swear to God. You talking about the?
Meanwhile, in another universe.
Oh yeah,
that was in the Venom post. That was the post credit.
Yeah, okay, I got
post credit. So that's just fair being fair.
Fair being fair.
But again, as I said with the Oscar nomination for Best Picture for Black Panther, Spider-Verse winning the Oscar is like, yeah, this is not just a stupid story. This is actually something that is actually worthy of watching, that of all ages, of people just enjoying it and
absolutely
having actual you can do anything. This is like something real. This is real.
And it opens up, like you just said, it opens up the door immensely for film of all different categories, genres, and everything. Speaking of, let's go into money. And when I talk about money, I got to talk about this. The Avengers Endgame box office is currently tracking at, you ready for this number? $282 million.
That low, huh?
You consider it low? I mean, because some people do.
Hey,
some people are actually considering it low.
Well, it's just one of those things where I feel like there's a mix. I think it's right where it needs to be. I think that's
okay.
Fine. I think that's fine because there's a mix of fatigue of the MCU specifically.
Yeah.
And also just like excitement of, all right, well, this is it then. And I don't want it to end, so I don't know. I want to delay. I want to delay gratification.
Some people think it's going to probably go lower because, like you just said, fatigue. But the reason I don't think it is, Infinity War just recently hit Netflix.
Yeah.
Many people did not get a chance to see Infinity War in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
They got a chance to see it on Netflix, have become multiple repeat viewers, and are now like, oh shit, what happens next? And now they want to see it. Also, Marvel Studios has found a great game plan. Black Panther led into Infinity War, which kept the momentum rolling. No matter how people may quote-unquote feel about Captain Marvel, it's still going to lead straight into Endgame.
Right.
So it's going to keep that catapult going.
Absolutely. And that's something that Marvel figured out a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, you have a good...
Captain America led right into
the Avengers.
That's just what it is. And that's, that whole aspect, like the post-credits of Captain America was the Avengers trailer.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And that's just like, that's the brilliance of Feige or whoever else is in charge of those types of things, like the quote-unquote godfather of the cinematic universe is like, they know what they're doing.
And also, every Avengers movie thus far has actually beat their tracking numbers.
Yeah.
Avengers had a tracking number, exceeded that. Ultron did, and then it went higher than that. Yeah. We already know how Infinity War knocked it out the gate.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Endgame's going to beat its tracking number, whatever it is, no matter how high or how low we may think it is. It's going to wipe the floor with it.
Could Infinity War potentially gross $300 million domestically?
Easily.
Okay.
I mean, it's the culmination.
True.
It's the culmination, because once that happens, everything resets.
Back to zero.
And this is the finale. This is the Super Bowl. This is
very true.
World Cup. This is everything. That's like, all right, we're done with everything you knew. Now we get the chance to either continue and have this all be canon, or reboot, or do whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I think it's gonna, and I think with that, you made a great point, because I think it's gonna be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Some things are gonna be canon. Some things are gonna get rebooted, especially the fact that there's talk that the Disney-Fox deal will officially be done by mid-March.
100%. And what with Dark Phoenix coming out, doing all that stuff, the Deadpool stuff, and
yeah, we'll talk about Dark Phoenix in a moment.
The Fox Marvel universe coming into the MCU, are they going to keep some of the characters? Are they not going to keep some of the characters? Are they going to keep them separate?
That has been a big thing. I think I discussed this on a previous episode. Bob Iger, during their first quarter conference call, said Deadpool can stay Deadpool.
Yeah.
So Ryan can stay as the character.
Which makes sense for who Deadpool is.
Right.
It makes sense.
But the only issue is he may not integrate into the MCU. Which at that point, I don't mind because the character that Deadpool is with being fourth wall breaking, he can always be like, there's some other shit going on. They just won't let me be a part.
He's been a part of the MCU already. They had like the
You talking about from the Wolverine?
No. I'm talking about the first Deadpool movie, not the fucking origin shit. Where the crash ship is helicarrier.
Oh yeah, it's a helicarrier.
You know, it's like,
it's an unofficial.
Like unofficially.
Okay, because I was like, if you're talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine, I'll throw you off my balcony.
Well, you know the X-Men Origins Wolverine, as shitty as it was, the end of the tag, the tag at the end of the movie shows Deadpool's head open with that sort of stuff, and I'm like, all right, I guess if they're gonna do it this way, but then it just went away, and I'm just like, that was
pointless,
horrendous. That was just the worst thing ever. What is this? What are we doing, guys? Come on, how is it that the fifth Wolverine movie is looks worse than the first X-Men movie? Like, how do his claws look worse now than back then?
Let's talk, because we can talk about Barakapool too.
But also, congratulations to Patrick Stewart and Wolverine.
We talked about that last week. Yeah, we talked about that last year.
Book of World Records.
Last week we talked Last week we talked about that. They are in the Guinness Book of World Records for the two longest members of the X-Men, of any, like, the X-Men movie universe. It's just a stupid long number. All right, back to the MCU, though.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is officially on the back burner.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin Feige has said, he talked with my buddy from Collider, Steve Frosty Weintraub. He said, quote, I mean, when it was pushed back, meaning the release date, because it's not coming out. Although we never announced the release date, actually, but it was going to happen sooner rather than later. Initially, of course. Outside of knowing what we're going to use, James Gunn's draft, we have been focusing on other projects.
Makes sense. I just hope it doesn't take a Inhumans turn.
I think there's several issues here. One, no director wants to take this project.
I know.
That is how much respect they have for James Gunn. Two, they got to figure out what they're going to do with the cast post-Endgame. Primarily, Dave Bautista and Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Which Bautista just popped back up on Monday Night Raw to challenge Triple H at WrestleMania. I called that on the Wrestling Compadre Slamcast. You knew it was finna happen. Don't act brand new.
Just based on Batista's vocalness.
That's exactly what I was. Yep.
You know, he's so vocal about wanting to stick with Gunn. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if DC snagged him up to play Bane or something like that.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. Or here's a thought I had too. This is a far-fetched hypothesis, but stay with me.
All right.
They got rid of James Gunn because of the current climate we're in.
Right.
That is the only reason. Remember, this is the same man with the exact same tweets who was hired, who Kevin Feige was confronted about that.
Yeah, this was all dealt with a long time ago.
It's all was dealt with, right? The only reason he is fired is because of the current climate we're in. I pretty much have a feeling they're going to let him do Suicide Squad 2. And by them, I say Disney. They're going to watch it be successful because it's James Gunn. He knows how to do this. And everybody's going to go see the movie.
Everybody will go see it. It will be successful. I just hope it's good.
But it's Gunn. Gunn can take... He has a very low bar to work with. And also, they're not using the same cast members. We'll talk about that in a second. But I could see after that happens, Marvel or the heads of Disney say, hey, look, this is a couple years down the line. Look, we fucked up. We sorry. Now, I had a discussion on Movie Talk, and the conversation was not unless the heads of Disney at the executive level of Disney proper change, which is possible. But also, I could see it happening. If Guardians 3 doesn't, granted it's on the back burner, but Guardians was a viable project for them.
100%.
It's a viable project. And granted, yes, the MCU has multiple other entities they're working with, can work with, and can draw from. You have a script. No director really wants to take it. The only directors that will take it are relative unknown. The problem with that is, do you want to put something as precious and what has been developed well as Guardians of the Galaxy, its whole, its thing going into Volume 3 in the hands of an unknown director. Now, granted, we've had unknown directors who've taken things amazingly. Taika Waititi wasn't really known. He was known for what we do in the shadows and things like that.
He wasn't known as a blockbuster.
A blockbuster director. Yeah. So,
but then you got a guy like Ryan Coogler, who's a 27-year-old guy who knocked it out of the park. It's
very true.
The lot to dissect about what you said, but first and foremost about the director's situation. Knowing what I know about executives is they don't like to admit
their faults.
I'm wrong.
Okay.
So that I don't see happening. I do see an unknown getting the job because that is a low risk, high reward for the executive branch. Because if they fail, they failed. But if they succeed, we're geniuses.
Yeah,
we're geniuses.
Okay.
The other aspect that I see potentially happening is Guardians 3 getting absorbed into the more broad Captain Marvel universe of maybe it's not their movie anymore. The characters become a part of the greater galactic Marvel universe. Once they, instead of trying to find a director to direct Guardians 3, it becomes Captain Marvel and the Guardians of the Galaxy. It becomes, once the Fox, Galactus, or it becomes, Titans meet the Guardians. Something like that where they're not the main characters anymore. They're within the movie. Basically, kind of like how Hulk is with the Avengers. He's technically a universal property, but
they know how to use him, and
they use him so they don't have to deal with.
Which he actually is still on loan.
He's still on loan. He's still on loan, and that means they don't have to deal with Universal.
Yeah.
So they won't have to deal with the director problem if they just make all the characters supporting characters.
Yeah.
Which would be too bad, but it would also, because the same thing, I mentioned the Inhumans before, is the same thing that happened with the Inhumans, where it was just like they got pushed, and what I don't want to see happen to the Guardians is what happened to the Inhumans. It got pushed, and then they're like, oh, we want to have our own mutants here, so let's make it an IMAX thing, and let's do this, and it was low budget, it was hastily put together.
Can you just say awful and sum it all up?
It was awful. It was awful, and it did a disservice to the characters that could have been great had they been introduced the way Black Panther was introduced. Had they been introduced the way Doctor Strange was introduced, the way Spider-Man was introduced, the way Hulk introduced into the Avengers movie. You know what I mean? Had they soft introed them,
it would have been easier. This would have been easier to do, but I think I don't think you could have soft introed the Guardians only because
no. You couldn't. The way they did the Guardians was perfect.
Yeah, because the average person didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy was.
It was perfect. It was as the Black Panther was, a self-contained film.
Yep.
You didn't need any previous knowledge of anything going on in there.
Nope.
No, it's a self-contained. I remember leaving the theater just going, well, that was just a big old gauntlet thrown, Star Wars. Every character in the Guardians movie was either Han Solo or Chewbacca. That was the Guardians are Han Solo and Chewbacca. If Star Wars was all Han Solo and Chewbacca,
yeah, I can see that.
That was the Guardians, which is the best parts. Yeah,
that's the best way to put that together.
And so it's so that was great. But now that it's all established, and they're in hot water with. Fuck, what are we going to do? Now it's maybe soften it up.
Well, I think we've had the groundwork laid for some different things. For instance, the Asgardians of the Galaxy has already been laid.
Yeah.
With Groot, Rocket, and Thor.
Yeah. Maybe even Bucky. I like when he picked up...
maybe even Bucky.
Picked up Rocket.
But that's dependent on if the MCU wants to go ahead and piss off the world, half the world, or just do what they do. Meaning by that I mean give Sam Wilson the shield. There's canon for it.
There's canon for it.
There's canon for it.
This is I brought this up on a podcast a while back, but I feel like a good way to bring in the X-Men into the MCU is to do Truth, Red, White, and Black storyline, because that's Weapon X program that did the Isaiah Bradley stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how they can intro the Weapon X program and all of a sudden discover, holy shit, there's this whole different group of people.
Also, I just think it's easy, though. I think it's easier than that. I think after Endgame, when you do the snap again, reality will never be the same.
Right, and the Reality Stone could
open the world up. So yeah, we'll see about that, man. Hopefully for the best of that.
Yeah.
The Dark Phoenix trailer dropped last night.
Yes, it did.
And yeah, it was everything you expected, and by that I mean bad. It was so bad that it spoiled the fucking movie in the trailer.
So, I don't know if you read this article about that trailer, about how the reason for spoiling the death scene of spoiler alert for the trailer of Mystique, of Jennifer Lawrence. Did you read that? The director said like the reason for it is to make sure that people knew that there was gravity with this movie, about people. Like,
that's
people
what Simon Kinberg said?
Yeah, that it mattered. Like, there wasn't going to be a lot of anonymous deaths. It was deaths that meant something. And he wanted to make sure that was delivered. And my thought process reading that was just like, oh, you mean like Last Stand?
That's exactly what this movie is. It is X-Men The Last Stand.
It's the same thing.
It's the
Phoenix
same
saga. And the only thing that I liked about this trailer that I was skeptical about leading up to the Dark Phoenix saga of this one was because leading up to this trailer, I was like, this is just a rehash of Last Stand.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a mental block that Jean Grey had as the Dark Phoenix and blah, blah, blah. It's just an amalgam of her powers. But they showed them going into space.
To get the Phoenix Force.
To get the Phoenix Force, which that made me happy.
But it's weird.
I don't know how they're going to use it, but the fact that they went into space...
No, I'm with that. But the weird thing behind that is she had a Phoenix come out of her in X-Men Apocalypse.
Right. The same thing as in X-Men 2.
That's the X-Men 2 leading it. Right.
It's like, that's not how the Phoenix works. But
I digress.
I digress.
But, yeah, so you saw that. Also, when you brought up Mystique's death, look, this lets you know Jennifer Lawrence don't want to do this movie no more. She let you know in Days of Future Past she didn't want to do it anymore. When she tried to stay more as Jennifer Lawrence than she did Mystique.
You know, blue, mutant, and proud is like clearly not.
Not that proud.
Clearly not.
And clearly we just like one coat of blue.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
is one coat of blue.
She's been done with this franchise since her first Oscar win.
Once she won the Oscar, she didn't care anymore.
She's done, and
rightfully so.
Why not? Well, like, if she doesn't want to be a part of that, it's, fine. I have no malice towards that. But it's like, if you don't want to, and so that's the real reason for killing her off.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to do it.
She doesn't want to do it anymore.
And I'm trying to say gravitas, everything has meaning. We know what it is.
X-Men Last Stand, Professor X died in the first,
5 minutes.
It's like, that's the most gravitas. The leader of the X-Men in the first 5 minutes, and Scott Summers died in the first 2.
We kind of knew where this was going.
We got gravitas, man.
I don't think you can beat that.
We've had that type of gravitas before.
Clearly, it looks like Scott may die again. I'm really thinking all the deaths are pretty much going to happen.
People just forget. That's why reboots happen so quickly nowadays.
Because people forget. Because you even got the scene with Magneto getting his helmet crushed on his face. Yeah. Who gonna stop that?
Yeah.
Who gonna stop that?
It's just...
So yeah, this movie comes out in June, and I just want
I'll still see it.
I have to go see it for this, ladies and gentlemen, and for the other websites I correspond on. So I'll be happily going to see X-Men Dark Phoenix, and you can shoot the fuck out of me afterwards. Okay, that's all the news. Let's get into The Gifted, man. The Gifted season finale just aired on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It starts off by talking about the gigantic mutant attack that happened on 7/15, which is still don't say what the fuck it was.
I think that's The Last Stand. It's just The Last Stand, man. It's just like, so yeah, The Last Stand happened. I mean, that's what I just want to have happen. It's just like, just connect it once. I don't know.
X-Men The Last Stand was the terrorist attack.
You check up and see when X-Men Last Stand came out. Maybe it was July 15th, and that would be amazing if that was the date, the release date of X-Men The Last Stand. Did it come out July 15th? Because that would be horrendous. That would be a terrorist attack.
Oh, I'm literally checking this right now because I need to know this just as much as anybody else. Oh, thank God. It's May 26th.
May 26th? Right. It's too bad. Damn it. That's a shame.
I was like, oh my God. Oh, shit. But yeah, we talk about that. We see now that Thunderbird finally gets his comic book accurate look.
Which I like.
And let me tell you something. If you got to go out like a G in a blaze of glory, he
did it.
He took every gunshot he could take.
I love that.
While whooping ass in the process.
Throwing the hatchet, hatchet. Just, oh man, I wish it. I know it's TV, so they wouldn't do that.
I wish it had landed in his face or all.
Maybe not Jason's face because they want to have the final blowout. But
the dude next to him,
just like just right in the helmet. Like, Logan with just fucking shit
just to
happen.
Watch Jason go, oh shit!
Yeah. I wanted just a piece of dialogue in there, just like a confrontation between the two of them.
Yeah,
where Jace goes like, "Your kind killed my daughter," and then Thunderbird could have just been like, "But you specifically killed the love of my life. Like you're doing what you hate because you're blaming everybody for what was an accident, and you
killed the love of my life.
You are actually doing the damage."
Do you think Blink is dead?
No, I mean, well, I think that this is you see in the transporter. The portal thing, where she has the different stuff. So it's like maybe it's a different realities, Blink, or something like that.
I think she did. I think the previous episode when they set out,
she fell into her portals and that healed her. Or something like
that. She fell into that nowhere.
Yeah.
Remember, she kept saying, "I want to portal myself to nowhere,"
and that's what she did.
I think she portaled herself to nowhere.
And so I don't think she's dead. I think she's different. I think she's going to be different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. She's going to come out looking completely different with the same green eyes.
Yeah.
Also, the Strucker kids, Fenris, when they come together, they destroyed the fuck out that Signal Services.
I like that. Part of me, I wanted them to. I know that's was good that they did that, so they could remove them from the scenario, so they could give props to everybody else. But part of me wanted them to grab hands
and then blow up the Esme triplets.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were going to.
I was hoping they were just like, and then.
I thought that's what they were going to do.
I thought that's what was going to happen for the whole walk. I was like waiting for it, just like
the whole "you're stronger, we're strong, we can do it."
When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen?
But then I started seeing people run out and die. And I was like, "Fuck!"
And then when they showed the building, I was like, "Oh shit, that's done.
That shit's done.
Done, son."
And then you get Reed, who finally steps up to Reba. He told his wife, "Listen. This shit gonna kill my power's gonna kill me any goddamn way." So,
and that's why we were talking a little bit before the podcast. Is like I was very happy with how that turned out.
Absolutely. Spoiler alert. By the way, if you ain't seen it, that's your fucking fault. You know how I feel on him.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't undercut his power,
not at all,
and didn't undercut his final scene with any type of maybe. Just like help from another person. It was a one-on-one battle between him and Reva, and it was such a comic book moment where he said, "You want the power of Strucker? Here it is."
Here it is.
And her shock in the fact that she wasn't being effective on him, and it was one of those things that I was just like, that's what I love. That's my favorite type of comic book panel. Like in one of the Civil War comics where they were trying to capture Wolverine, and they have the mitts on him, and they go, "Those mitts dampen your powers," and then Wolverine just goes, "A lot of people make that mistake," and they're like, "What do you mean? The claws aren't my powers."
Yep.
Because his power is healing. That sort of thing, and that's another. It's a different topic, but the fact that they made his bones. Whatever.
Did you ever, real quick, sidebar, since you just brought that up.
Yeah.
And I remember that panel.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite panels. I love that.
Did you know that Wolverine is one of the few mutants with multiple powers?
Yeah.
Like, people are like, what do you mean? The claws are the claws, okay? The claws itself are the power, not the adamantium.
Yeah.
The healing is a power. His sense of hearing is a power. His sense of smell is a power. He has the most powers.
Yeah, he's definitely, and until, like, at that time, the claws weren't the power. That was before they did James Howlett as the bone. The claws.
Bone, yeah.
That's before they revealed the bone claws.
Yeah, because at first it was always the claws were. It was
the claws that were.
Made,
the reason he had the claws was because
of the skeleton.
The skeleton, adamantium. That's what they added because it was a weapon, and the only reason that he could have that is because of his healing factor, which is what I loved about that panel. Is like a lot of people make that mistake. They think my claws are my power.
Yep. That's like an X-Men. I will say that's the only thing I give to X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
When you had Sabretooth was like, "Hey man, why can't I get this? Like, we the fucking same." He was like, "You wouldn't survive."
You wouldn't survive. That's the one thing that I've talked to other people about. This is we talk about how they find, as much as I enjoy Hugh Jackman and he did great with the character and everything like that. The thing that Wolverine Origins got was, they finally found the right Wolverine in Liev Schreiber. The way Sabretooth was portrayed in Wolverine is the exact way Wolverine should have been the entire time.
Yes.
I'm great at my job, and what my job isn't very nice. He's not a good person.
Nope.
And Hugh Jackman is supremely likable. And
it's hard to look at him as like...
It's hard to be like, oh, he's a hardened killer. But the way Liev Schreiber played Sabretooth is the way that Wolverine is in the comic book. And so I'm looking at him as like, oh man, that's Wolverine.
But yeah, so all in all, what did you think of this season of The Gifted?
I liked it. You know, I enjoyed it. I like the characters. I think the main guy, he kind of reminds me of an amalgam of what's his name? Jake Johnson. What's the guy's name? One of the guy from he's in Jurassic World. He's the guy who is at the computer who has the old shirt, the old dress.
Oh, I know. I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He's like a mix of that guy and then guy who plays Llewyn Davis or Poe Dameron or whatever.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Yeah. He's like a mix of those two guys and also Mexican. And it's like, or I think he's Mexican or he's. I think Latinx or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like I like that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's a good actor. I think he plays his part supremely well.
I just like the fact he has heat beam lasers.
Yeah, and they use them.
They use them.
That's the best part about this show is that they use their powers as they're meant to be used.
I've told everybody
as tools, as weapons, as a bit like
abilities.
The same way we use our hearing and smell. And whatever that they use them.
I told people many times before, if the X-Men movies were done like The Gifted, there would never be an issue.
100%.
There would never be an issue.
So what do you think of Legion?
I fucking love Legion. I can't wait for Legion to come back. I am sad that it is going to be on its final season.
Same here. I watched Legion first, and then I watched The Gifted. I was upset that they weren't connected.
Which I thought they were gonna be.
I thought they were gonna be too. Not upset in the like disappointed that made me like them less, but it's just like
I wanted this.
I don't mind that they're in different cities or whatever, but just maybe a line here or there, just like whatever it is.
And Legion is that show that you literally can't just listen to.
Right.
You have to watch.
You have to watch it,
and you can't be distracted. Like you can't be on your phone.
The way Aubrey Plaza plays.
Oh my god.
Shadow King.
In season 1. Is fucking surreal.
Whew.
And you know originally the role was for a guy.
Oh yeah.
And she auditioned, they were like
She's perfect for that role.
She was like, we're gonna keep Aubrey Plaza, as you should.
She's perfect for that role.
Well, that's all for Marvel. Let's get over into DC news because there isn't much to talk about the DC show. So I'm gonna let you guys know you got to tune into YouTube for my Doom Patrol episode 3 review. That'll be coming out later on in the day.
We didn't even talk about the Netflix shows.
No, they're done. They're done.
At least until 2020 and 2021.
We're still going to keep our fingers crossed on that, sir. In DC news, Aquaman 2 officially has a release date.
All right.
It will be dropping December 16th, 2022. Now, do you think that is too long for a sequel, to wait for a sequel?
Well, as of right now...
I like how it starts and goes, well...
Well, as of right now, it seems long, but at the same time, there's 17 years between Incredibles and Incredibles 2. I mean, and Bill and Ted 3 is coming out, so, you know, however long is a sequel want to be is, if it's good, it's good. Like, that's the thing, and Aquaman was fine. It was, like, that was what it was.
You know what? I'm glad someone is on here who I can actually have this discussion with, because I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah.
People would sit there going gaga crazy over Aquaman. I'm like, it's decent.
It's fine.
It's not this amazing film because it knew what it was. It was campy.
Right.
It was cheesy. It knew what it was.
And that's why it wasn't bad.
Right. Absolutely.
It wasn't great.
No, not at all.
But it was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
It was an enjoyable, middle of the road, like, this will appeal, this won't get anybody upset about it. Like, nobody was upset about anything.
No,
about
not
the
at
movie.
all. Not at all.
And there's nothing to be upset about it. But
not
it wasn't
at all.
something that was, like, game-changing. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, like, it may have been game-changing for the DCEU.
Oh, absolutely was.
But
it absolutely was, for sure.
Okay, this is a fine entry. You know, it's, that and Wonder Woman are the best things that they've done. And, that's fine.
And one of them... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, the sequel, we'll see, because it's a long way away.
Well, that's the thing I'm bringing up about the time, because it was announced, like, 3 weeks ago, we're getting a spinoff with The Trench.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, The Trench will fall in coming out maybe 2021. This way, it doesn't seem as long. Granted, none of the original Aquaman cast members are going to be in The Trench, but you're still in that Atlantis world.
In the world, which is good. I like that idea. I like the idea of expanding the universe and telling different stories within the universe, because everything doesn't have to be with like. It's like it's like there are other people in the world.
And that brings me up to my next point. Warner Brothers Entertainment CEO Kevin Tsuchihara, he confirmed that the DC movies will be standalone moving forward as of right now. This is what he said. The upcoming slate, the upcoming slate with Shazam, Joker, Wonder Woman 1984, and Birds of Prey feels like we're on the right track. We have the right people in the right jobs working on it. He goes on further to say, this universe isn't as connected as we thought it was going to be 5 years ago. You're seeing much focus on individual experiences around individual characters. That's not to say we at some point won't come back to that notion of a more connected universe, but it feels like that's the right strategy for us right now.
It's so remarkable how long it took them to realize that. it's like just studying what the MCU was, which is what they're going off of. It's like, but guess what? Iron Man was not initially a part of the MCU. Because of that little tag at the end with
the
Sam
Avengers,
Jackson, that could have just been a one-off.
It sure in the hell could have.
If Iron Man didn't work the way it was, it could have been a one-off. And then the Hulk happened, and that wasn't as good.
But the tag at the end.
The tag at the end was like, oh, this could be connected. And then the next movie was I think Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
And that one kind of...
I mean, but it was a filler movie.
It was a filler movie, but it was a sequel to a standalone film.
And that's exactly what it was. It was a sequel to Iron Man. It wasn't
a connector movie.
Granted, it's in the MCU, but it was a sequel to Iron Man. Then we get Thor,
which was a standalone film.
Yes, it was.
And we introduced Coulson.
Well, we'd already introduced Coulson in Iron Man.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Iron Man.
Yeah, he's in Iron Man. So,
what we introduced Hawkeye in this one.
But just in name alone. Just like Barton. Not Hawkeye, just like...
Yeah, just Barton.
Like, I'm starting to root for this guy. That's what his line was in the movie. But again, that's a standalone film that could have just been
a standalone
film. And then all of a sudden,
the announcement.
Then it becomes, this is a world. Everything's connected. And it was slowly building up into what it became. And then DC saw that and was like, oh, we got to do everything right away.
Yeah, it's like you can't just jump into it.
Jump into it, because what if it's not good? Then you got to abandon it, and you look like what they looked like.
And now,
now they're like, okay, every movie's going to be on its own for right now.
And I think that's because they like you just said, it's not a rush to get back to the Justice League, but I think each individual movie will have a reference to some. It's going to have to,
absolutely,
because we've already seen the signs. Of course, in Aquaman, they reference what happened in Justice League just enough. Move on.
Exactly.
In Shazam, we see Freddy with the Aquaman shirt on, the Batarang, the newspaper article.
Yeah.
Just enough. Move on.
Move on.
Wonder Woman 84 is just telling
going to be a sequel.
It's a sequel to Wonder Woman. It's not
a sequel to the Justice League.
It's a sequel to Wonder Woman. So that stands alone. Birds of Prey, that is kind of interesting.
We'll see what happens with Birds of Prey. I'm glad that they're making it.
It was so confusing. First it was Gotham City Sirens, then it was Birds of Prey and Gotham City Sirens. Now it's Birds of Prey, and I'm like, okay, this is happening. It confused me because of Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, because now her Harley Quinn is in this. Her Harley Quinn is officially coming back for Suicide Squad 2, but now the Harley Joker movie is scrapped.
Right, because my big confusion is with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Whether or not that's actually the Joker, or if it's like I have no idea. And here's the other thing. I'm happy I have no idea. I love going in to see a movie
that makes sense.
blank.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what they want this movie to be, because I want to go in and just be like, all right, what am I going to see here? It's called Joker or whatever it's called. I'm just really like, all right, let's see what happens.
The thing that soured me on it, and I'm going to go in with an open mind, was when they said it was going to be loosely based off the story from The Killing Joke.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that story, that movie in itself was fucking awful.
They just didn't need to add
the love affair.
Yeah, they didn't need to add any of that stuff, because the story itself is good enough.
A story within itself.
And it's fine.
And I trust Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I trust Todd Phillips as a director. So I'm not nervous on that front. But yeah, they're doing what they're gonna do. And speaking of Suicide Squad 2, which is officially called The Suicide Squad, that's the name of it, with James.
Call it Weapon X. Or not, Task Force X. That's what it was. Task Force X.
The Ghost Initiative.
Initiative.
That's with freaking, James Gunn directing.
Yeah.
Will Smith is officially no longer part of the sequel. Now, it was
too busy playing the genie.
The Genie, Bad Boys 3, all that other. That's literally why they say his schedules. Yeah. The schedules couldn't match up. It wasn't official that he was going to be a part of it, but Warner Brothers had pretty much been teasing that they were going to have Harley Quinn and Deadshot be the main two characters to return, because those are the two you really gave a shit about out the squad.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's happening with Star Trek 4, where Pine and Hemsworth dropped out, so it's not gonna really happen. It's like, what are you gonna do? It's like, you want to do this thing, but you can't make it work.
But I think the thing is, with Suicide Squad, that's the beauty of it. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. There are always interchangeable members.
There's always going to be interchangeable members.
So
so Deadshot, while traditionally is the leader of the Suicide Squad, you can make it Captain Boomerang. You can make it...
I don't want to see Jai Courtney anymore. I don't. I like to quote my little brother, one of my good friends, PJ Campbell. Can we stop trying to make Jai Courtney a thing?
Hey, it's
it was either PJ or BC who's on it.
They could introduce Count Vertigo, right? Get Sean Penn as Count Vertigo.
I would love that idea.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Sean Penn as Count Vertigo.
But I want to see high Sean Penn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The Sean Penn we knew.
Or grab. This is a casting choice that I would have loved to see in the. This is my dream. Dark Knight Rises. I would have been Crispin Glover as the Riddler and fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman as the Penguin. That's what my dream would have been, to see those two guys as the villains.
Dude, Crispin Glover as the Riddler.
Yeah,
still
man.
to this day sounds like a great fucking idea.
I would love to see that.
And rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
But him as the Penguin?
Yeah, man. Mob Boss Penguin.
Oh, shit.
That would be amazing. Still would like to see that version of the Penguin. While I love Danny DeVito as the Penguin, I would love to see the Mob Boss Penguin.
There's nothing like... Look, Robin Lord Taylor does a decent job on Gotham.
Yeah. He's grown into that role
He's
so well.
much. He's grown so much.
Same thing with the guy who's playing the Riddler on that show.
Yes, Corey Michael Smith.
Yeah.
They've both grown into these roles.
Nailed those parts now.
Yeah.
When it was first starting out, I was like...
I think everybody was like on the show. But when I saw Danny DeVito's Penguin in Batman Returns, I was like, this is everything I never knew I wanted and needed.
Yeah. Which is why... But that's also the reason why we didn't get the Tim Burton 3. You know, that's because the toy companies couldn't make that scary of a toy because people were
terrified
of Danny DeVito's nose-eating penguin.
I could be gushing blood from my face.
What?
Ah!
Danny DeVito is the best thing that's ever happened to the world, I think.
Oh, God.
He's so amazing.
So
Crispin Glover is my choice for Riddler. I would love to see that. Or if you want to do this is a friend of mine's choice. He brings this up all the time. If you want to do a more Batman animated series accurate depiction of the Riddler, you get David Hyde Pierce. That's my friend Jake Lieberman. He has that. He looks and sounds exactly like the animated series Riddler. David Hyde Pierce as the Riddler.
I can see. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard some excellent fan choices here from one Jeffrey Baldinger on the Mad Titan podcast. So I want you to make sure, if any of this shit happens, you reference this goddamn
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Let's go on a little bit for it. We were talking about this before we started recording, and I couldn't wait to get to this discussion. It is being reported that the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman, which will officially no longer include Ben Affleck in any way, may have not one, not two, not even three, but four villains.
Whew.
Four villains.
At least they're learning from their mistakes.
Okay.
I mean, you know the old phrase, too many cooks makes a meal the best thing ever?
That's not
that old phrase.
That's
right?
not. That's not a thing.
Wait, that's not the phrase.
That's not the phrase
that's
at all.
Not the phrase.
It's not a thing at all.
Oh, but you know, like more is more. You know that phrase, right?
More is better.
You know, more is more.
It sounds like the name of a 1970s TV show more than anything as a phrase.
MOORE is more.
Yeah.
That is a detective. I would love to see
Mary Tyler Moore and Hugh Moore.
I would love to see Hugh Moore play a detective
in a show called More is More.
Yeah. Get on writing it, Hugh. You know that.
God damn it, Hugh! Let's make it happen. So yeah. So.
Oh man, it's just. I know that he's been. This is something that I've wanted for a long time from a Batman film, is to showcase his detective skills, because as of right now, we've
never seen it.
It's always been told and not shown.
Right.
Except for in '89 where he figures out the chemical mixtures. That's the most detectiveness we've ever gotten.
Because they tried to do it in Batman v Superman, and
a little bit, but if he was even remotely a good detective in that movie, he would have figured out that Superman's not a bad guy.
From the jump. And here's the thing about Batman Superman as a little tangent thing. They made the best Batman versus Superman movie in World's Finest, in the Joker, Lex Luthor team up. That intro between the two of them was the very best thing that they could have done. We've always
said Batman holds up the little piece of kryptonite and he just goes, "Doesn't take much, does it?"
I'm giggling because I remember that. That's the coldest fucking line ever. Don't take much to fuck you up. You realize that, right?
And the Joker has 2 pounds of this. And just like, and just like, and that's the first thing. And it's like, and then when he looks through the mask, and Batman's like, "You looked." And then when he goes home and he finds the tracker and he sees from miles and miles away Batman just sitting on top of the Daily Planet,
just looking,
giving them the salute. and just fucking, that is how it should have been.
Well, like, that's also a credit to DC's animated universe, which
DC
is fucking phenomenal.
animated universe is amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing. I just recently watched the end of the third season of Young Justice. And
buddy.
I'm happy with it, you know. But that's all tangents for a little bit later. But the end of Man of Steel should have been where the body of Zod was taken and Kryptonite thing was dissecting him, and then the doors close and you see Wayne Enterprises.
That would have
been the better tag. But whatever. It is what it is. Whatever.
I just gotta go to one of these films with Jeff and sit there and just be like, "The fuck are you doing?" Just watch the point. The fuck are y'all doing? Come on. You know what would have been better right here.
You read a Batman comic? Come on. Here's the thing, and this isn't mine. This is Hampton Yount brought this to, you know Hampton?
Yeah.
He's fucking phenomenal comic.
Yes, he is.
He's a brilliant comedian and writer and just a great dude all around. And he's another guy who knows a shit ton about comics. He brought this up where he's just like, anything could have been better than what we got as far as like the reason Affleck left is because he said he couldn't crack it. it, and then Hampton just threw this out there, and I've been obsessed with this ever since I read what he wrote, which was adapt Perchance to Dream from the Batman animated series, and that just got everything in me just fired up. I rewatched the episode, the Perchance to Dream episode of the Batman the Animated Series, where Batman wakes up and his parents are still alive, and he's living this normal life, and there's somebody else that's and it was all a dream, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that, you know, he can't read because he's in a dream, and it's the Mad Hatter, and so,
you
know, that sort of stuff. And if they adapted that story to a film, that would be so amazing, because then we'd have Detective Bruce Wayne, we'd have this, and the fucking with of the mind of the Mad Hatter, like, oh, it got me all right.
I think Warner Brothers I'm with you on that. I just think Warner Brothers is so focused on we need to see him in the suit.
100%. But the best part about Perchance to Dream is there is a Batman in
Batman in the world, yeah. Yeah.
And it is technically Bruce Wayne under the mask in his dream, because he's Batman in his mind still. And that's...
They could do it. I mean...
They could... Oh, my God. It'd be so cool if they...
Actually cared?
If they actually cared about this. Because that's such a good storyline. And that's the other thing that Hampton brought up, which is like, there's so many things to crack about the storyline. Since the 30s of comics lore that you can adapt to the screen, anything from the DCAU, just like, there's so much to do with it that to just throw villains at it, throw 4 villains into it, just give us frosting. Like, that was my biggest problem with Justice League. It was all frosting. There was no cake. There was no cake.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people love frosting, and as a kid I loved frosting, but
you don't love it now?
I'm a bigger fan of pie than I am of cake, to be honest with you. I'd take an apple strudel over a fucking frosting mound of cake.
I'm with you on that.
You know, it's like, and it's just, give me a story that I can remember. People always complain, like, I take it to The Simpsons, because in the early days of The Simpsons, it was about the story, and the joke, you remember the jokes because of how the story made you feel.
Yeah.
The jokes stick with you because of the emotional context in which you were watching them.
Yeah.
There was, the early episodes, there was an episode where Homer had to be sober because he got a DUI
I remember
for
that.
30 days. And those are some of the funniest jokes in there that you don't necessarily remember the storyline, but you remember how you felt when you heard the jokes. Whereas now it's just joke, no heart underneath it. And you don't remember them as well. And they're not as good. Because there's no substance.
Right.
And that's what I feel like is happening with the DCEU, where it's just like, we just want to have you... That's what happened with Justice League, where they brought up how Superman made you feel. It's like, he was a symbol of hope?
Yeah, like, I don't think...
When in Man of Steel, when in Batman vs. Superman, was he ever a symbol of hope?
I mean, because if that statue means he's a symbol of hope, I don't think
when did that happen? you're trying to rewrite history.
You can't
when
rewrite.
We have 2 movies that
say otherwise.
The history.
Yeah,
and so it's like,
because the world mourned him. Like,
it's super easy to say. Obviously, this is a criticism, and criticism is the easiest form of anything. Just because I'm not making the movie. I'm not doing this.
And also,
I'm just a fan looking on.
And also, criticism is best. And I hate to say it that way, but when it comes from someone who is passionate about the material in which we're talking about, it's not trying to completely rag on Warner Brothers. It's not trying to rag on DC Entertainment.
And I'm not ragging on the ability of, like, they put work into these movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
100%. And I'm not taking anything away from the crew, the staff, the actors, like just everybody who's working on them. Nobody wants to make a bad film. You know what I mean? It's like,
are you sure?
I mean, I hope.
Because I believe in some people out there was like, oh, we gonna fuck this up on purpose.
Well, if you look at the behind the scenes of the Suicide Squad, the first Suicide Squad movie, that's like basically what happened.
Like, they did not care.
There's so much.
Will Smith got to be an action hero, and that was all that mattered.
Would be some sort of Suicide Squad.
All right, let's end this DC news on this note.
We're the Men in Black. This is our Independence Day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What are we? Some kind of Bad Boys 3?
What are we? Bad Boys for Life? Yeah. That's exactly what it'll be.
I forget who said it, but they missed a big chance in the Taken movies where I wish I remember who said it, but if Liam Neeson had just said, "My wife's been taken too," in the sequel. I forget who. That's not me. It's somebody else. I forget.
As far as let's go to the DC Universe streaming site. Now, if you remember the season finale of Titans, it was rather lackluster. It was not a cliffhanger. It was a
DC Titans equals what if Robin was the Punisher?
Man, Titans is only the story to show you how Robin becomes Nightwing. That is literally what this is.
Yeah.
So you remember the season finale?
I like that they introduced Jason Todd. I'm happy about that.
Murdering motherfuckers left and right.
Yeah.
But it was the post-credit scene in the finale that got everybody, because you were like, wait, what is this dog? And you see Cadmus and you're like, oh shit! And then you see somebody breaking out this big bulky ass silhouette. You're like, oh fuck, they finna do Connor. Fuck. And then it's like, cool. Then you realize the dog is Crypto. And I've always said this. In Supergirl, going into season 2, when that extra pod had landed, I was like, if it's that fucking dog, I'm gonna lose my mind. I literally thought, I didn't think it was fucking Mondale. I was like, if this fucking dog.
I liked how they did Crypto in Smallville.
Yeah, but now we get Crypto and Titans, and we officially have the dude who's going to play Superboy. So Joseph Oren, he's an Australian-born actor. Yeah. He hasn't been in much. He's only been in a couple of shorts and a TV movie, and so he's an unknown, and they got him to play Superboy. Here's the issue. I want to show Jeff the picture of Joseph Oren, just from a headshot. What does it look like Joseph Oren does not have a lot of? Muscles.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's got good bone structure.
He's got bone structure.
He's got the chin. He's got the chin.
But that silhouette was a goddamn pro wrestler.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? That's the issue I have.
But they can fix that in post.
We saw what happened when they tried to do Zachary Levi like that with Shazam. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. So, but yeah, again, I have no Doom Patrol news for you guys. You got to check out the review when it drops. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel.
I liked how they soft intro Doom Patrol.
It worked perfectly. Have you watched the first couple episodes yet?
I haven't started watching Doom Patrol yet.
You gotta watch it.
I just started watching Umbrella Academy.
I have to watch that.
I just started watching Umbrella Academy, so next is gonna be Doom Patrol.
Okay, but yeah, so the Doom Patrol review, like I said, youtube.com/JWashington80 JAY80 is how you can check that out. Okay, I got something new for you all. If you follow me on Twitter, which you should be, I've been posting a lot about it. I now have a Mad Titan podcast hotline. That is where you can call in. You can give me your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and I will hopefully, if I can hear them and understand them, and then you have a good recording place, we'll air them here on the podcast. So we got one for this week. I'm going to play it, and then Jeff and I are going to talk about it. So here we go.
What's up, Jay Washington? I'm a big fan. You probably see a lot of my tweets from L Boogie, but this is me. My question is, do you think once in Avengers Endgame, once the snap is reversed, if we will get one big fight scene with all of the original Avengers and the heroes who were snapped away, will we get one big fight scene with all of them maybe versus Thanos and some more of his flunkies? So that's my question. Peace. Keep up the good work, Jay.
All right, thank you first and foremost to L Boogie for calling in. I do see all your tweets, man. I appreciate the love, everything. So the question is basically, after the snap is reversed, will we see that giant, epic Marvel poster we always looked at as a kid fight scene? Do you think we will?
Yeah.
We've got to.
100%.
This is the culmination.
You know, that's this is what it's about. It's the poster scene. It's the airport fight scene. It's everything that you wanted. You got to have it because you got to have Cap and Iron Man back again. You got to have Spider-Man swinging around. You got to have everybody. You got to have Black Panther. You got to have the Guardians. You got to have everybody. You know, it's like, and if they don't, that will be huge disappointment to the fans, I feel.
I know, we feel it guaranteed will. I think every fan is looking forward to this. I think a lot of people thought we were getting an Infinity War, but it works that we didn't. Because you know why? We earn it in Endgame.
Right, exactly. And Infinity War was a Thanos movie. It was.
Thank you, everybody.
It was a Thanos movie. It was about, and that's what made it work.
Supervillains rule, ladies and gentlemen. Supervillains rule.
You know? So I kind of hope we get a soft intro to Kang, maybe.
Well, again, we might get Kang, but I guarantee there's another bad guy that's been spoiled by the toys. I don't want to tell you guys on here. If you want to do some Googling research, Google Avengers Lego toys, and you'll be mad and thank me later at the same time.
Yeah. But, of course, we're going to get that scene. And I do believe that is... it's going to be if not the final thing. Yeah,
before everything shuts down.
It's going to be
some big-ass thing in the middle of New York.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be in the middle. Maybe not New York. Maybe they'll be on the moon or something.
Or like Wakanda or whatever. Or Wakanda. My whole hope is, we get that big scene. But
on Titan. It might be on Titan.
It could. But my big thing, or Titan 2.
Yeah.
My big thing I would love, though, is I would love it to look, we have that big scene, but I want it to look like the very first time we saw the Avengers together.
Yeah.
In the event, that rotating shot. I don't give
100%.
a shit if you got 40 heroes. Rotate that bitch over.
It would be so funny if somebody could edit it together just to have that shot just of like every character that we've ever introduced in the MCU, just including the Netflix heroes, including the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., including the Inhumans, just like everybody. It's just like, and then like you pan out and it's just like that scene from The Simpsons where it was like at the end of the Halloween episode where they're all like, "Good morning, starshine."
They just start dancing.
You zoom out, it's just a huge circle of all the heroes.
Oh my God, that would be fucking hysterical. But thanks for your call again, L Boogie, man. And you too can get your calls in 818-276-6947. 818-276-6947. It's a free call. Call, leave me your questions, comments, concerns, and it will air here.
818 till I die.
Rest in peace to Brody Stevens.
Brody.
I wanted to say that towards the end. We both lost a good friend, fellow comedian, shining star in Los Angeles.
Brightest light.
Man who, when we saw him, epitomized positivity. Brody Stevens.
Yeah.
Passed away, unfortunately, from suicide. And as you know, many people have. And if you are dealing with that, if you're feeling those issues, please reach out to talk to somebody. And also, if you need to, you can call the suicide hotline, 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-TALK. All right? But Brody, your legacy will forever remain on and strong. And we definitely love you, buddy. Jeff, I definitely want to thank you, man, for coming to hang out with me today.
This is awesome. I really had a fun time.
I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad we found this out. I would love to have you back in the future.
Absolutely.
Man, I appreciate that. Go ahead and tell the people how they can reach you, find you, and what you got coming up.
Yeah, man. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Jeff Baldinger. It's JeffBaldinger, and all my dates for shows are at jeffreybaldinger.net. JeffreyBaldinger.net. I'm at the Improv tomorrow night for the
which is Saturday, Friday night or Saturday.
So
just tell them the dates so they can know that.
I'm at the Haha Comedy Club Friday the 1st at 10 p.m. I'm at the Improv Sunday, or I'm at the Improv Saturday the 2nd at 10 p.m. and I'm at the Improv on Sunday at 10 p.m. as well. So you can come see me any of those days. I'm at the Laugh Factory on the 5th for the Kevin Nealon and Friends New Material Night Show, which will be a lot of fun. That's at 8 o'clock at the Laugh Factory on Tuesday the 5th, so you can see me there.
That is so dope. And as always, man, again, appreciate you here. Go follow that man. Find out where that man is. If you're in the Los Angeles area, come out and check him out, man. He is dope at what he does, and I'm not just saying that because he's on this fucking podcast. Man, y'all already know how you can find me. Twitter, Instagram, at Mr. J Washington. It's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. I gave the YouTube channel out before. I'll give it out again. YouTube.com/JAY Washington 80. Goddamn, I get confused. And join my Supervillain Squad on Patreon, man. Join the squad. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. And matter of fact, let me give it up right now for the members of the Supervillain Squad. Shouts out to Akeem J. Brown, Brandon Buckingham, DJ Snacks, John Mariano, LK, Mikey Lito, Paisley Dart, Steve Tozen. I want more of you guys to join the squad. I'm going to put more stuff up on there. A lot of audio, video content, things like that. But you got to join the squad. It's only $5, y'all. Do that. That. Tomorrow I am at Madam Siam in Hollywood. I just got added to the show. I'm doing the roast of Corey Fernandez, a buddy of mine. So I'm going to let his ass have it. Saturday, I'll be in Ventura at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club doing a live TV taping for Not Your Average Comedy. I got so much other stuff. On the 4th, on Monday, though, I will be going to see Captain Marvel. So be ready for my review that evening. All right, it'll be up on the YouTube channel as well. I think that's about everything I got covered, man. I will holler at you guys next week. Till then, take care. I'm out of here. Peace.